CS National Treasury and CS Energy. We've been sitting here for, I think, over 70 days. But one of the most shocking revelations that was made before this committee was by the Control of Budget about a new phenomenon called budgeted corruption. Now that we have the National Treasury here, because she went on record, would like you to also go on record to clarify this issue that shocked us, that shocked the nation. And she gave an example of her own salary. And she said when she looked at what had been budgeted was 3 times. Yet what she gets is what is her actual salary. Therefore, there is something fishy at the National Treasury. There's some cooking going on there. I would like you, CS, to clarify this issue, because we know that corruption is one of the biggest, actually, challenges that the country is facing. It's estimated that almost 30% of our budget really is consumed by corruption. So if we are able to contain that issue of corruption, we've also heard from the experts the issue of the government overspending. If we're able to rein in those 2 issues, I think there will be enough money to ensure that Kenyans are not really overtaxed as they are. Would like you to guide us on that one. The other issue was also what has been referred to as the G2G. We were very concerned, and I think His Excellency Chair Kalonzo Musyoka has raised that issue. We've had concerns from our neighbors in Uganda about that G2G. There was some opaqueness to that deal. I would like to know from the CS Energy whether that framework agreement has been tabled in Parliament, whether it was. There has been some lack of transparency to the extent that our neighbors raised concerns, and I think they're making some serious decisions based on what is happening in Kenya. I got from President Museveni's comments, and this is what he said, if you look at his Twitter, that without my knowledge, our wonderful people who are buying these huge quantity of petroleum products from middlemen in Kenya. A whole country buying from middlemen in Kenya or anywhere else. It's amazing, but it's true. This is what is happening. Why not buy from refineries abroad and transport through Kenya and Tanzania, cutting the cost created by these middlemen? We would like to know from the CS, because we are told our Ugandan neighbors, who are our biggest trading partners actually, are considering, of course, engaging Tanzania and other alternative routes, which will also have serious impact. Please enlighten us on that. The other issue is the issue of housing. We know that PS Hinga has been very passionate. I was privileged to have served with him in the last regime. And it is true that this was one of the key pillars of the Big Four agenda of the Jubilee administration that we served together. But of course, we ran into headwinds. Kenyans raised concerns. Kenyans went to court. And at the time we had COVID-19 and other challenges, we did decide, and as government, I think, to shelve it. We know that this regime is equally passionate about this housing issue. But of course, you cannot mourn louder than the bereaved. The bearer of the vision himself actually was able to stand down. Why can't you consider, given the current economic situation, the outcry of all Kenyans, from teachers to the policemen to, professionals, who are literally being forced to, pay for this housing issue? Many of them have taken out mortgages. We heard from the chair of Public Service Commission. They are taking home just about a third of their salaries. Many of them are going into depression. To add this housing levy on top of their very thin pay slips, is the most oppressive thing under the prevailing economic situation. Why wouldn't you consider, as we did in the last regime, doing away with this for now, so that you don't have to do everything at once? As experts have said, you cannot load everything at once on this Kenyan who is already overtaxed. The other alternatives that we had, of course, the idea of job creation. There were those infrastructure developments. We did send money to the education sector, construction of classrooms, construction of, building of desks. This created local employment. We had the Kazi kwa Vijana, almost 2 billion monthly, putting money in the pockets of young people, creating employment. What we are saying is that you can still create these jobs without forcing this bitter pill of the housing levy on Kenyans at this time. Would you consider those alternatives? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Catherine. Let's hear Catherine.
Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, Chair. I left something for the National Treasury. My point that you had referred to on the, I think we were expecting to hear from the CS National Treasury, because all the experts have said there are too many taxes and you need to review some. On fuel alone, as we heard from our earlier presenters, from road maintenance levy, petroleum development levy, petroleum regulatory levy, railway development levy, anti-adulteration levy, merchant shipping levy, import declaration, all this, plus VAT being doubled from 8 to 16. What Kenyans were expecting from you today is to know which of this you can realistically reduce, give them some relief in the short term, even as you're looking at the long term, and also the issue of the housing levy. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine.
Thank you, Chair.